Fragmented Memory, Explaining the Inexplicable, is with Hermann Zschiegner. This talk, Hermann is a amazing person who runs 2N Studio, whose bio I am currently missing, and will introduce himself as he comes up to the stage. But I'm excited to welcome Hermann to the stage. I will give a shout out that he gave a fabulous talk at Outlier 2023, all about the building of the MSNBC Big Board. So in a year with a lot of election conversations, go check that out on our Outlier reel from last year. But I'm excited to welcome Hermann to the stage, where he'll be talking about topics related back to the Holocaust and genocide. And so if those are topics that are sensitive for you, we fully support you taking whatever space you need mentally or physically in terms of stepping out of the room. But I hope that you'll stay to hear some of his insights and reflections on this topic about explaining the inexplicable. Hermann?
Is this on? Yeah. Thanks, Amanda. Thanks for having me again. So today I'm going to talk about a very different project. As Amanda mentioned, I run a small design studio called 2N. We do all kinds of data viz, and the most visible project we did was the MSNBC election coverage map, as well as all the trading floor displays at the New York Stock Exchange. But today I'm going to talk about a very personal project, and this was based on an exhibition, on a competition that I participated in my hometown of Innsbruck, Austria. And the competition was about designing a memorial to the 114 people that were killed in a forced labor camp that was run by the Nazis during the war. We as humans have been creating memorials for a very, very long time. Memorials to memorize the passing of emperors or wars or natural disasters or pandemics such as the plague or maybe soon COVID-19. I want to do a very, very quick kind of run through of 4 memorials that were very influential and inspiration to me, and kind of show also the approach to data, visualizing these events in memorials. So the first one, oh, I have to click, sorry, it's not my computer. Sorry. Yes, so the first one is the Memorial to the Murdered Jews of Europe by architect Peter Eisenman in Berlin. So this memorial, I keep on clicking here. In Peter Eisenman's own words, this monument has no goal, no end, no working one's way out of it. It's based on a 5-acre kind of urban void within Berlin, and it grants no further understanding, since understanding the Holocaust is impossible. So it's these kind of concrete blocks that one can walk through. It's based on this kind of overlapping grids, and it's really just here to kind of evoke a sentiment or an emotion, right? So it's the absence of any data within this kind of memorial. Below the space is the Raum der Namen, the Hall of Names, which is a space you can go, and the names of over 3 million Holocaust victims are being read out and displayed on the walls. And this is a sister project to Yad Vashem's Hall of Names. So Yad Vashem in Israel keeps a very detailed record of the names and the biographies of the people that they know that were killed in during the Holocaust. They have an excellent website. You can go there, you can click on the name, and then the name is being read out. The next project is, you're probably very familiar with it, this is the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. So this kind of like deals with time, right? Maya Lin won this competition when she was a student. This was the sketch she submitted. It's essentially just a cut into the surface and exposing 2 stone walls. And along, this is the original competition entry to competition. And here you see a picture. So it's this wound, what she describes it, and it points towards the Lincoln Memorial and the Washington Monument, kind of tying the Vietnam War into the Civil War and the Revolutionary War. And along these, And along these walls, as we all know, in chronologic order, are the names of the people killed during the Vietnam War. So again, time is a kind of a measure. Next one is the most recent one, is the National Memorial for Peace and Justice in Montgomery, Alabama, by Mass Design Group. Now this visualizes the 805 counties where lynchings were done. There are over 4,000 documented lynchings, and the names of the people that were killed, this is a great shot of the memorial, are engraved into these kind of steel coffins that are hanging off this memorial. So this is very much about the place, right, where these murders had happened. There's also this little exhibition, which I think is fantastic, where they took samples of the soil of these places of murder and displayed them. The last one I want to talk about is J.R. Thorpe. You guys might be familiar with his work. He did the placement for the 9/11 memorial. So he wrote this kind of processing app that allowed conversations with the families of survivors and find these, what he called, meaningful adjacencies. In other words, trying to find a placement of the names of the people killed in groupings of how they knew each other, right? So as you go there as a family member, you would stand with other families that had some meaning to the one that you had lost. So again, there was like place, time, and connectivity. So now I'm going to talk really quick, I don't have much time left, about the project that we did. I should mention this was a team of architects, historians, and artists, and database designers as myself. This is Innsbruck. Innsbruck is in the heart of Europe. So we're right in the middle of the Alps. Innsbruck was an important kind of place during World War II because it was the best passage north-south through the Alps. And as a result, it was heavily bombed during the war. As we all know, Austria joined the German Empire, the Third Reich, in 1938, very willingly, although a lot of people try to kind of, or have tried to bend that kind of reality, but we were very willingly joining the Hitler Empire. Hitler came to Innsbruck a few times. He loved the Austrians and the Alps and the mountains. But the truth is that they also built a camp. So this was a forced labor camp at the outskirts of Innsbruck, and a transitional camp to ship the Jews that were still left in Innsbruck to camps like Auschwitz. Innsbruck hasn't really dealt with this reality for a long time. It took them almost 80 years now to kind of realize that. And so there was a long study now being done on the camp. And as part of this study, the city decided to do this competition to create a memorial. This is a historic picture of the camp from the late 50s. There's very, very few information or data left of the camp. Unfortunately, a couple of days before the US Army came to free the camp, most of the documents were burned, and unfortunately, a number of key witnesses were hung and killed. Project became very quickly very personal. The person on the right side is my grandfather. He was a roofer in Innsbruck, and he was allowed to serve what they called at the home front, so he didn't have to go to the war. He was tasked with fixing roofs after bombings. He didn't have any workers, so what we all learned during this kind of research phase is that a number of firms, a number of businesses had access to these forced labor people. So they were kind of all over the city, ingrained into the fabric of the town, both in agriculture, so farmhands, cooks, and in construction. So there was, as I was working on this, all of a sudden this realization, this is also about myself and my own history. And also about the history of the town, right? This is a quick visualization. Again, there's an estimated 9,000 people that were in the camp during the war. We only know about 114 as of right now that were killed. The number is most likely much higher, but the 114 is what we had to go with. So here's a quick site plan. On the top is a little park. I'll show a picture soon. And down there, the red thing is where the camp was. So this was supposed to be video, but it didn't work. What we realized very early on was that we're dealing with incomplete data, right? Like with this kind of fragmented memory of the events. And we tried to find a way to visualize that. So as a motive, we took a tile, a square, and created derivatives of it by skewing them and creating a field condition out of these, right? So each one of these tiles representing a person that was in the camp. And the red dots being these data sculptures that we have created for the people that we know were killed. There is a chronological kind of placement of the people. I have to go quick. I know I have 0 minutes left. This is the space. This is how it looks like. So these are the tiles on the in the park. The idea is that grass would grow out of them. These are the columns, the data viz columns for each person. They lean towards where they were coming from, and the height is based on their the age they were when they were killed. The top of this kind of concrete block is polished and has the name and age and place of origin for the victim, right? And the idea was that it would be this kind of concrete columns that would be made out of different types of concrete to kind of bring again this notion of individuality into the memorial. So I know we are totally out of time. There's also a visitor center where we're talking a lot about the camp, the history of the camp. This was our own algorithm to create the placements. Again, this meaningful adjacency of where people were coming from and how they were being killed in the camp. I'm really gonna think. The last thing I just want to very quickly show is that there was some excavation that was done at the original site. Really the only thing that they found were these shards of glass. We took that also as an inspiration for the visitor center, and we created this roof structure that had these kind of glass pieces in the roof and would shine back onto the site itself. We also plan to use the existing infrastructure of the train stations to kind of raise awareness throughout the city, again, bringing the memorial back into the city, and as a kind of an act of hijacking this infrastructure, we're using the displays for the train schedule to display some of these names of the people that were killed and the age they were in. So thank you so much. It's really honored to show you this project.
Thank you. So is I'm waiting. I don't know. Oh, we guys come up front here. Is there, if we want to, do we have one question either online or in person who'd like to ask any questions of Hermann? Yeah, Matthias.
Thanks a lot. So which feedback of the people visiting the site did you get?
Is this on? Is this on? No, I'll take this. Well, it's not built yet, right? So we just won the exhibition, the competition. We're going to build it probably starting next year, which marks the 80-year anniversary of the freeing of the camp. But one of the surprising feedbacks that we got from people in the community of memorials was that originally we wanted to highlight the places where the people were coming from, right? So in other words, have these columns kind of yellow when they were from the Ukraine or blue when they were from Poland, you know, you get the idea. And we were told that this is now the wrong approach of memorizing victims of the genocide. And I was surprised with it because the reasoning behind it is that these kind of country-specific categorization creates now in this new climate a whole other set of tension, right? So in other words, in Auschwitz, for example, they have stopped having memorial days that are just for people from Poland or just from the Ukraine, because it would create, again, these kind of conflicts that they were trying to avoid. So we were told we could not identify as a data point the actual origin.
Thank you. It's so interesting to hear all the thinking that goes into some of these kind of memorial pieces and places. And I love the throwback to the other people who have inspired you, like seeing how Jer's placement work really inspired what you all did. I'm sure there's more questions that will come in terms of questions from folks here and online. As a reminder to please add those questions into the Outlier Slack channel for questions. Hopefully Hermann will be able to tackle some of those as they surface. But a huge round of applause for Hermann and sharing his work.